Hello, welcome to the Movie Zone. Today, we are recapping Season 1, Episode 6 of Game of Thrones. The wolf demands justice at court, while in the east, the Targaryen prince finally gets the golden crown he's been asking for. There are spoilers ahead. Let's begin. Ned Stark wakes up and sees Queen Cersei and King Robert hovering above him. The Queen wants someone from the Starks to be held accountable for kidnapping Tyrion, while Ned demands justice for the men the Lannisters slaughtered. Robert bellows at them to hold their tongues. Cersei's too stubborn and states, "I should wear the armor and you the gown." Robert gives her a Will Smith slap, and she declares she shall wear the bruise with honor. Robert replies, "Wear it in silence or I'll honor you again." Cersei leaves the room, and Robert regrets slapping her. Ned is reinstated to his position as Hand of the King. Robert says the crown cannot afford a war between the Starks and the Lannisters, with the millions they're indebted to House Lannister. In Bias Dothrak, Daenerys takes a dragon egg and puts it on a smoking hot brazier full of coals. Her servant, Irri, enters the tent and sees her reach for the egg. Thinking it might injure her Khaleesi, she takes the egg and burns her hands in the process. Daenerys' hands, however, remain unburnt. Bran's having the same vision as before. The dream extends this time. The three-eyed raven is now seen flying through the crypts of Winterfell. He wakes up, and Hodor erupts through the door with the newly finished saddle. He rides on his horse Dancer to take it for a spin. Robb Stark and Theon Greyjoy are in charge of keeping an eye on him. Theon wants Robb to avenge the deaths of the Stark bannermen. "I'm talking about justice," he says. They notice Bran is missing, so they look after him. 4 wildlings have captured Bran, which is strange because wildlings are usually found north of the wall, not this far south. Robb kills 2, while Theon shoots one in the head. Robb decides to spare the only survivor. Tyrion's still locked up in a sky cell at the Eyrie. He is about to fall off when he wakes up terrified. He tries negotiating with Mord, the jailer at the Eyrie. Mord doesn't budge and hits Tyrion multiple times. In King's Landing, Arya's not in the mood for dancing lessons with Syrio Forel because of the recent losses from House Stark. The Master Swordsman lectures her on the realities of life and how ready she must be to fight at any minute. He tells her there's only one God, and his name is Death. "There's only one thing we say to death," he tells Arya. "Not today." Daenerys Targaryen's chowing down on horse organs as part of a Dothraki tradition. The Dosh Khaleen, widows of dead Khals, serve as overseers and read her omen. Viserys asks Ser Jorah to translate what they're saying. "The stallion who mounts the world," he explains. It looks like she's about to hurl, but with the sheer power of will, Daenerys manages to hold it in. She rises and announces the name of their child, Rhaego. The people cheer, and Khal Drogo lifts and carries his wife across the room with pride. Viserys is jealous of the care and attention they've been giving Dany. He attempts to steal her dragon eggs, but is intercepted by Ser Jorah. These eggs are quite precious. 1 egg can buy a whole ship, while 2 can buy a whole ship and an army. Jorah asks the Targaryen prince to let go of the eggs. Viserys reveals he's been noticing Jorah's feelings for Daenerys. Jorah stands his ground and orders him to leave the eggs. Back at the Eyrie, Tyrion's again attempting to negotiate with Mord, who finally listens. Tyrion instructs him to tell Lady Arryn he wishes to confess his crimes. He stands before Lysa and her son Robin. Tyrion begins confessing his crimes by narrating a list of sinful but hilarious deeds he made since childhood. The problem is, it has nothing to do with the murder of Jon Arryn or the assassination attempt on Bran. He insists he's innocent. He then demands a trial by combat. Ser Vardis, the captain of the guards, agrees to be House Arryn's champion. Tyrion manages to get the sellsword Bronn to stand for him. King Robert is on a hunting trip, while Ned sits on the Iron Throne as Hand of the King. Villagers from the Riverlands are asking for the king's justice for the destruction of their village. The one leading the pillagers is outrageously tall and was seen chopping a horse's head off with a single swing of his sword. Ned realizes they're describing Sir Gregor Clegane. As the Hand, he strips the mountain of all ranks and titles and sends 100 men to hunt him down. He also summons Tywin Lannister, the mountain's overlord, to answer for the crimes of his bannermen or be branded a traitor to the realm. Grand Maester Pycelle and Littlefinger are both worried about the drastic action. The Eyrie's moon door opens as the trial by combat begins. A light-footed Bronn is fighting the heavily armored Ser Vardis. Bronn navigates defensively around the room, taking a toll on the knight's stamina. Bronn finds an opening and wounds his opponent. After he goes for the kill and tosses Ser Vardis' body through the moon door, Tyrion is finally free. A Lannister always pays his debts, he says as he bids them farewell. Ned talks with his daughters about sending them back to Winterfell. Both protest his decision. Arya complains she still has her training with Syrio Forel, while Sansa won't leave King's Landing because she wants to marry Joffrey and have his babies. I'll give him sons with beautiful blonde hair. Ned pauses for a moment after hearing those words. Arya points out that Joffrey's sigil is not a lion, it's a stag, just like his father. But Sansa objects and says he's nothing like King Robert. Ned seems to be onto something, so he sends them away and tells them to pack their things. He opens the book about royal lineages. Every Baratheon recorded in that book has black hair, aside from Joffrey, who's blonde. A feast is ongoing for Khal Drogo and Daenerys when a drunk and resentful Viserys interrupts the celebration. Drogo tells him to sit in the back of the tent. That is no place for a king, he declares. Drogo responds, "You are no king." Viserys draws his sword, an action forbidden in Vaes Dothrak. He threatens Daenerys and the unborn child with his sword, demanding the golden crown Khal Drogo promised him. Khal Drogo, through a translator, agrees to give him the golden crown that will make men tremble. He lowers his blade and smiles, happy to hear those words. That's all I wanted. Khal approaches Dany and checks if she's okay. He mutters an order in Dothraki. One of his blood riders seizes and breaks Viserys' arm. Two men restrain him as Drogo melts some gold in a pot. It starts boiling, and he brings it over to Viserys. "A crown for a king," he says, right before he pours the molten gold on the Targaryen prince. Viserys lets out a horrifying screech as his hair burns and his face melts. His dead body hits the floor, and Daenerys tells Jorah he was no dragon. Fire cannot kill a dragon. What do you think about this show? Tell us in the comments below. Check out other episodes on our channel, and be sure to like and subscribe. See you next time.